Hi guys, this is Desiree of the Succulent Therapy. We are back again with another video. This time we will use this plant in front of me. This is a Graptopetalum ellen. And this is how it looks like before we plucked some leaves in there. As you can see, there are a lot of spaces. That's just not good at all, but we just plucked some leaves for the sake of this project. And so this is how it looks like right now in there. So this time we will talk about the succulent propagation or the leaf propagation in soil. Okay, so I am not an expert for this matter, but at least most of these things that I do in my garden is really helpful and effective for me. So that could be the case for you. And so we will begin with the 4 factors that affects leaf propagation. We have here the leaf, soil, water, and light exposure. We'll go ahead and discuss the leaf. This is really important, and this is one of the key for successful propagation because every leaf has to support the succulent pulp that it will produce. The nutrients on that leaf will be sucked up by the new pulp that will come out. So in order to ensure successful propagation, always choose the healthy plump leaves and avoid the yellow and wrinkly ones. We have here an example. We could see this one right here. We'll just have to look for it. This one. Or other people will recommend that you get the leaves on the bottom, but I don't really say that it's 100% okay because most of the leaves on the bottom is wrinkly and some yellow ones. So you might want to disregard these leaves and then proceed with the plump and healthy ones. As you can see right there, this one is a good example. Okay, so let's move on with the soil. Okay, so water and air propagation is possible, but if you choose to propagate on soil, you might want to choose the right soil mix for your propagation. For me, I personally recommend that you use any of this: coco peat, rice hull, compost, loam soil, or you can mix them together. You can add charcoal if you want. That's really good for the roots of your succulent. The reason that I recommend these types of soil is because they are lightweight and they are really ideal for leaf propagation. For the reason that it makes easier for the roots to establish its way down the soil for the better chances of the pups to survive. Well, the other soil mix with the rocks like the pumice is possible. That's really good, but avoid using a pure rocks for leaf propagation for the reason that your succulents may have the black spots and it may rot before it has even the chance to provide pop. After you chose a right leaf, you prepared some soil, let's move on with the watering. Okay, so it is important that you keep in mind that newly plucked leaves should be air dried for about a day before putting them on dirt or on soil. And then after that, you have to wait for 2 days more to ensure that the leaves are calloused. So if you water them early, they may absorb much water because of their open wound from where you pluck them, and then they will turn transparent and eventually they will die. So at least air dry them for 4 days, and then after that you may mist them for about every other day. Okay, for the last one, we have our light exposure. This is probably the most important factor of succulent propagation because this is what they need in order for them to be beautiful, to be healthy, and such that when you just placed your succulent propagation on soil, it is important that you keep them in a bright shade. And as they produce some pops and some roots, you can gradually introduce them into light. You can put them into the morning sun for about 1 to 2 hours, and then as they grow, you can increase the amount of hours that you expose them to sun. They'll be good with that. Your propagations are provided with the right amount of light that they need, I can assure you that they will be healthy, they will be compact, chubby, they will be beautiful just as you want them to be. Some of them may even produce pops faster than the others. Most of the succulents provide pops for over a week. For example, we have our black prince, ghost plant, Tito Bans, cubic frost, Debbie, and others. And some of them takes 2 to 3 months, just like the Lawi. We have our pink pebbles, the Kante, and other rare succulents out there. They are much challenging to propagate. Well, that's it for the 4 important factors, namely the soil, the leaf, the water, and of course the light exposure. We'll go ahead and discuss or proceed with the main topic for today, which is the propagation on soil. We will discuss this one step by step, and of course we will be guided with the 4 important factors that we just talked about a while ago. Okay, so step number 1, we just have to pluck some leaves. In plucking some leaves, as I said a while ago, we must choose the plump and healthy ones. So we choose this one right here. You just have to wiggle it a little bit, and then be careful not to tear the leaf apart, and it comes off just easy as that. And if you can see that small dot in there, if you could see it, that one, that's an indication that you got yourself a good leaf. Now let's compare the good leaf versus the bad ones. There is a big difference in there. This part right here is where the succulent pop will have to go, and it is not present on this one. So we will have to disregard this one and proceed with this one. However, there are some types of succulent that produce pops even if their leaf's tip is torn up. Like this one right here, we'll take this one as an example. This is a Choco Soldier, and as you can see, this one right here is pretty torn up, and this could still produce some pops, but it will take time, maybe a little longer than the normal propagation that we are doing. Regardless of the leaf size, as long as the tip is still intact, you could actually get some babies in there. Like this one right here, this is an example. This is the leaf that we just plucked. Look at the comparison. This is a lot smaller, and you could see the pops right there and some roots that are beginning to form. That's a good thing right there. Moving on to step number 2, it is important not to skip this part. This is the air drying. So after you plucked your leaves from the plant, you have to air dry those leaves for at least a day before you put them on soil. Okay, so step number 3, gather your container and the soil mix that you'll use. You can use some recycled container, or you could put them on ground. You could use some pot or use some seedling tray like this right here. It's really up to you, as long as your soil mix is well draining, so that your succulent propagation will not drown, especially when you water them. Okay, so moving on with step number 4, this is the placing of the succulent leaf on the container or anything that you have right there. It is important that you look at the leaf like on the side, and you can see this one right here, this curve, and that's when you know that this one will be on top. So you will have to do like that. Please don't bury it like that, because it may give you roots, but it will not give pops. Okay, so it is important that you just place them on top. They'll be great and good with that. And so let's move on with step number 5, which is the watering. As I said a while ago, you have to wait 2 days after you place them on the soil before you start to water them. Please don't skip this part, because if you water your propagations too early, yes, they might absorb the moisture, and then they will turn transparent, and then eventually they will die. Okay, that's it for the 5 steps. And so we'll move on with the notes that you have to keep in mind when propagating succulents. Number 1, remember to keep your propagation tray as clean as possible. You don't want some dried leaves or some transparent leaves in there, so it has to be clean. And then number 2, do not let your propagation dry out for a long period of time. Remember to keep it moist, as I said a while ago. Spray them with spray bottle for at least every other day. That's what they like. It will help to form roots and some pups. This is also to keep the bugs away, because a lot of bugs do not prefer a wet surface. Okay, so number 3, don't bury the leaves too deep. As I said a while ago, it will form some roots, but it will not give you a pup. Number 4, transfer them when they're an inch bigger to ensure a higher rate of survival. If you'll transfer them too early, it may disturb their growth, and some of them may even have a fungal diseases on the way because they are disturbed. That will commonly happen with a lot of rubrotinctum, like this sedum aurora jelly beans. That is what's happening to them. So if you want to grow some jelly beans or some sedum aurora, you might want to plant them on one pot and leave them in there for about a year, so that they will not have to suffer from any other fungal diseases. That's with the rubrotinctum. Okay? And that will be the summary of a couple videos about propagation that I made a couple months ago. Yes, actually I have made a video about this, but it's kind of long, and so I have to put it onto one video, and here it is. I hope that I have explained it well, and if I have not, please comment down below and let me know what is the thing that you want to ask, and so I'll see on to answering with that.
Shoutout also to Ma'am Annalisa Busanya. Hello po.
That's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope that you are doing well. We will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.